What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you guys had a good October, getting ready for November. Last couple days, pretty decent pullback in the market. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But we got Alan House. Good morning to you. We got Albert. Good morning to you. We got Amy, Anna. Good morning to Bill, Cheryl, Sydney, Corey, Frank. We got Georgia. Good morning to Jay. We got somebody iPhone. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure your name is just not iPhone, but good morning to you. We got JT. Good morning to Lucian, Marius. We got Martina in the house. Good morning to Peter, Rick, Rob, Scott, Tim, all my people out in YouTube land. Good morning to all of you. We got Fitz in the house. Good morning to Letter, David, all my larkers in the background. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe buttons. But yeah, before we do anything, let's talk about the monthly candle. So, uh, little bit of a potential reversal candle. We know that most of that came into the last 2 to 3 days of the market. Oh, Andrew, got you. What's up, Andrew? Yeah, it just says iPhone, so I'm like, I don't know. I don't I just AI is in the chat now. That's all right. But yeah, I mean, we had it for the most part a relatively strong October. October is typically kind of on the weak side, and it looked like we were going to buck that trend. We definitely did it in September, but then the last 2 to 3 days, we having trouble with earnings season, pulling back a little bit. Today we are gapping up, so it is a little bit of a gap and go. I think the first spot, at least on a monthly basis, we got to see if we could break out of the open of last month's candle. So five. Let's see. Let's see if we get more accurate numbers. I got 573.40 is where we open this candle. So if we could get above it, okay, we have a shot. Then the next spot up would be the high end of this wick, and that would also take us to all-time highs. It's still an inside candle from September, so we didn't really make too much progress. It wasn't a dying candle. We didn't bearish engulf September's candle. That would be ugly. But we do have some shots fired. We got a little bit of warning. We got a little bit of hype that got kind of settled down. The Bears had a good month for October, and we'll see. We still haven't really had a big retest. We got one, two, three, four, five green months in a row. One inside candle with some caution on it. We do also have a little bit of a wick at the bottom, but most notably that wick at the top is kind of crazy. So we'll see. I'd still be remaining cautiously bullish, and you got the gap up today. We had the jobless numbers come out today. The job numbers come out today that were in line essentially. I think we only added like 12,000 new jobs though, so that was a little strange. But that could be they were saying because of hurricanes and maybe the numbers aren't as accurate. But then again, since I can remember, those reports haven't been too accurate. So I don't know if anything really changed on that front, but at least they have a decent excuse, I guess, this time. But other than that, be cautious. Be cautious, but I think the momentum is still bullish. We just haven't had that pullback. So once we do, I think you see the buyers come back in. The question is this more of a resting candle? Just a little fear going into election, which is what do we got? 4 days after today? 4 days till election. We get some things out of the way, and then we kind of go from there. We'll see. But otherwise, SPY, not a great day. We closed below the 100, strong close, no buying whatsoever. And that's followed by this gap down. I was looking for a little bit of a retest. We couldn't even get that retest to really come in. We had pretty much open and drop for most of the day. So we'll see. If we could break right now, at least we do have that gap and go. So maybe trapping some bears potentially. Otherwise, watch this 571.31. I think if we get underneath that, we have a chance for a double bottom or breakthrough. So 571.30. Let me go a little. Let's get a little more accurate on that one. 570.96. Let's see if we break that down. If we could hold that, all right. I think we got some. At least we could play the risk reward to the bull side. Other than that, you are getting pretty close to about a 50% retracement of yesterday's candle. So probably some resistance, maybe coming in around 572.05. It's the high end of it, 572.45. We start breaking through that. We could look at the highs of yesterday. I think that'd be pretty impressive to wash out that entire candle from yesterday. We will see. We will see. Qs. Let's go to that monthly candle too. Probably looks kind of similar. A lot more wicks on the Qs. But yeah, for the most part, pretty similar. The only difference is we actually had one more resting period in here. I still like this closing candle from September, so that got us above at least the opening price of that last high wave. But for the most part, we've just been hanging out in there. We did sell off past it. Bulls just rampaged back. That to me looks a little bit more resting than the SPY does. SPY looks a little bit more potential inverse than this candle on a monthly basis. But other than that, we're gapping up. Watch, I guess, the opening price of this candle, which is rated for a longer term basis at least. But if we can get above 501.35, that's the high. The opening 487.70. We're very close to it. We can start breaking that out again. I think you have another shot up till this 501.44 on the Qs. Cannot break through it. You might again still have another opportunity to get some puts for the Qs, and your stop would be the high of that monthly candle. So you got a little bit of risk reward. That is a big move though. That's a $14-15 move to the high side. But again, the close of yesterday, not that strong. It did close below that 50 as well. Look for some kind of support today on the Qs, which it's good that we're gapping up above it, but 485.63. Let me see if we come a little bit more specific on that. Look for 485.51. That's going to be that key number. So we'll call it 485.50. We start breaking that down. The only other support we have is the low of yesterday. And with that ugly candle, that momentum, I think we probably end up breaking through, whether today, tomorrow, or Monday. But then we got targets down to like 480.85. So we shall see. Let's start with team is the first one I'm seeing. If you guys got tickers, put them into the chat. We're saying a monster gap in a bullish direction. You have a spot on this one. This is after earnings. Earnings came in 20% beat to the earnings per share. That looks pretty fantastic. You got $32 million beat to the higher side on the revenue. That's pretty decent too. That is one heck of a location for this gap. Uh, let's see where this one opens, but that's crazy. The fact that you're trapping everybody from this candle, that's wild. And then this is the spot, I'd say even a little bit lower. But I would think that the Bears would have wanted to protect this 230.43. They couldn't do it. You don't have much holding you back up until about 238. It still gives you about $7 to the higher side. Let's add this one to the list. And let's get this one up here. Yeah, talk about a crazy gap and go. What's that monthly gap look like? Hold on. Hold on. Let's put this one into a monthly perspective real quick. I feel like my charts are like extra stretched out. I don't know. Something happened with my monitor last night. Monthly perspective is not a bad gap. That would still be technically a retest from yesterday. We're opening into a little resistance. The monthly doesn't look as good as the daily, actually. I mean, it does look pretty fantastic. You are trapping a heck of a lot of people. Still got 1, 2, 3, 3.5 months from that last down move that we are trapping. It gave you a shot for a double bottom, nice breakout, good monthly hammer on that one. So there might be some people in here to the bullish side already. All right, I'm gonna watch this one. I think it's got, according to the daily chart, if we go a little bit higher, if we could break any like pre-market resistance, I think it's got $6-7 to the higher side before we get that pullback. The monthly looks like we're opening essentially right into some bigger resistance But that is definitely quite the gap. So we'll watch it. It's on the list. Let's take a look at Amazon. Reported earnings last night. They pretty much beat on everything. Really, really good report. So they beat earnings per share by 25%. They beat by 1% on the revenue side of things. The AWS was like the big thing that I think the markets were kind of looking at, which they missed on those numbers, but it was an improvement from quarter over quarter from last year by a lot. So they're still showing that AWS is growing. I don't think it's right to where they want it yet. We know we got up to this 200 zone. I think the high of this move was 20120. Um, if we could get above 20120, I think you got closer to 210, 215. Amazon goes wild. It'd be crazy. But we had Bezos coming in selling right at that 200 mark for a while. And then after we just could not break that 200 or really hold, couldn't get any more steam on it. We had a huge dip down to, I think it was like 150. Yeah, 151. And we started to rampage back. So we're back there. If anybody was in this thing at all and they were like, yeah, we could break through this 200, they had to sit. If they didn't sell, they had to sit through one heck of a wild ride. This is giving them their money back. So be careful of this 200 zone. It is definitely a bullish gap and go. I do think Amazon will go higher than this 200. I think we eventually break it. I don't know if today's the day. I'm not sure. I think we need any of those kind of weaker hands, of people that were in there for a trade, got trapped. They're like, oh my goodness, we got our money back. I, this is a gap and go in every stretch of the imagination. I just think that we probably end up fading this gap. So be careful on the bull side. If you get a pullback, that's probably how I want to play this thing. Probably a decent pullback to like 196.89 ish. If we get that pullback, then I think it's worth the second attempt during live trading to get up there past that 200. Otherwise, if for some reason we're opening and we're anywhere above, I think 200 already at the open, it might be a green flag to jump in and try to continue bullish. Anything under that 200, you're very close to it. I think there's some people that might want to take some gains, so be careful of that gap. Otherwise, it does look really good. I think longer term bullish. Amazon does break through. Doesn't mean we're not going to sit through another wild ride first, especially if the markets want to kind of come down on it. Apple. So Apple came in with a miss for the most part, besides their iPhones, which I think that was the most biggest question of is there demand for the iPhone 16? Is anybody buying that thing? The iPhone 16 portion of their report was good. Everything else was kind of weak and pretty much a miss. They still came in with an extra 418 million. So that locks them in at 94.93 billion for the quarter. So again, that's you got safe money. It's a company that's just relentless on making cash. They have bank accounts just filled with cash, no idea what to do with it. You would think they would buy back some more shares, but they did. What was it, last quarter, 2 quarters ago? They bought back a decent amount of shares, increased the revenue a little bit. Their earnings per share, they missed big time by 39%, so not great there. You do have a gap you have a retest gap on this one. But I don't see any real key support quite yet. Maybe we got down here on the earnings, but 220, what was it? 220.52. Let's see if we got down there after the earnings came out. We got down to 220. So we already hit that big support. We did get a little bounce. If we could start rotating up here on a retest gap, making higher lows. All right, I think you have the case for the retest. Otherwise, kind of I think a little disappointing. I don't think people are running for the doors on Apple. I think most people that own Apple are just probably holding it. So I don't see too crazy of a big move. You do have some room here with a lack of volume down to like 219.65 ish. So again, right around that 220 zone. I think if we start breaking down 220, you can probably continue to go short on this one. I don't know where that would be to, probably like 216.42, but we'll see. It is a retest gap. If it comes down a little bit more closer to that 220, I think I'd be looking to actually fade that move. So any kind of severe drop out of the gate, and I think that could probably get a bounce today, especially with the market being up. We got Tesla. Tesla was gapping up a little bit, so we're in this one for the swing. So far, it pretty much rounds where we got in, so nothing too impressive yet. We're up a little bit, but we just got triggered in yesterday, so not bad. The one thing that I'm looking at is resistance on this one, and that comes in at 252.49, so we'll call it 252.50. If we can start breaking above it, I think that's your shot to make a decent move where this thing has room to go higher. That would take us back to this 257.83 for a day trade. Longer term, I think we're fine. Longer term, I still like it. But we'll see what happens on this move. If we can get past this 252.50, fine. We'll go long on it. Otherwise, I think we're going to get some chop on Tesla. Bullish market, so maybe we don't break down this candle today, or unless the market decides to pull back, then I think that's going to help Tesla break that candle, and you're probably looking for almost a retest into this 244.74 zone. But see if we get a little chop, high wave candle that allows us to get in above that 252.50, and I'm good in the bullish direction. It is a gap and go. It's just inside day, so it's not as strong. But you do have good risk reward down here. You're toward the bottom of the candle. I would like to see a pullback first, almost into our entry, and then take off from there. We got Nvidia. Nvidia, and then you guys are saying Crocs, so we'll take a look at Crocs as well. Nvidia, same thing. So again, the damage from yesterday, and this is going to be on a lot of these stocks, but the damage from yesterday, pretty severe. We do have a gap and go. The question is this all just a retrace? Bears taking some gains. You get about halfway through your candle. The 618 maybe, that will probably take us right into that 20 on the daily. So I think he gets, well, probably, I got resistance somewhere around 135.12. So we might see a lot of inside days. I don't see a lot breaking out today on the bullish direction anyway. Maybe I think we're more likely to break down bearish than bullish. But I think a lot of these things are going to be inside. So if this one wants to pull back, I think your better spot to try it long. See if you get a pull back to like 133.53. Stops. You have one more VPOC down here. I put my stop somewhere below 131.54. And then I think that gets you at least your best shot for risk reward. But let's see if we get a little bit of a pullback first on this one. That is quite the breakdown. And then the only other thing we still got is besides election coming up, and then we got rate cuts next week, or potential rate cuts possibly. So there's still news, but the big thing is going to be Nvidia's earnings. It's held up pretty decent as like the SMCIs of the world, the AMDs are getting pullbacks, the ASMLs are getting pullbacks. This one's still, it's pulling back, but it's a little slower on that pullback, and we still got the earnings. I think there's a point in time where this thing will start to run up ahead of earnings again. Probably needs a slight little bit bigger of a down move. So we'll see. But I would like to stick bullish on it. Just give me a little bit of pullback for today. All right, let's check out Crocs. We got Crocs. Yeah, usually have I don't know why they're messing up my charts today. Like my screen is messed up. Usually I have my clock over there. Okay, we got 9 minutes. All right, we got Cox. That one had the gap and go. They had earnings 2 days ago, which were decent. I guess decent enough. They 16%. Was it lower guidance? Because they got absolutely plummeted on those earnings, which didn't look bad. Other than that, we did get into a decent volume zone. There's nothing really holding us back to like this 116.66 zone. So you can make a case there's probably some buyers coming in on a technical basis. I don't really see a candle as to why to buy it quite yet. It looks like it's kind of just hanging out. It is a gap and go again off the lows from yesterday, but it looks like a pretty strong down move. Maybe they had lower guidance or forecast. I'm not sure why that's down. The earnings didn't look like it deserved that much of a beating, but it's down there. But on a day trade basis or even a swing trade, I don't see anything yet. Even your high volume candle, that's probably where you want to get that breakout to go long. That's still up at 117.93. So I think most likely this one's going to chop down here for a while. We'll see. Um, I just figured out. I think my screen settings are too wide. That's got to be it. Very strange. If you get some kind of move, I think you get caught here. You probably get a little bit more of a dip, sit there for a while, and then I think it pushes. So, um, I think almost dead money for a little bit, with more pressure probably to the downside if the market wants to kind of collapse with it. All right, let's see. We got Exxon Mobil reported with a good report. So they did beat on the earnings per share by 2.33. They missed, according to TradingView, by 3.96 billion. Is that number right? That number seems pretty wrong. I don't know why. They did increase the dividends. That wouldn't cause a $3 move gap up. They did beat on earnings per share. Something seems really off about that revenue missing by almost $4 billion. I don't know if I trust that. Maybe it's completely accurate. I have no idea. That seems strange though. Regardless, good gap up. 120 is going to be your resistance. We're very close to it. You're actually running into a little resistance prior to that as well. So 119.68. I think this one probably ends up fading today. So I think I like it more to potential downside than to the bullish side. Again, I don't know if I trust those numbers. Yeah, last quarter you missed by 390 million. Now you miss it by 4 billion. Something seems wrong. I don't know. I'd have to double check that. But oil in general is up today. Good day to report the earnings. They did increase the dividends to 99 cents a quarter, which is fantastic. But I don't think you're in the clear on this one until you really start clearing that 120 zone. So more of I think more pressure higher. Let's check out Oxy real quick. Oxy. Oxy has a decent support somewhere to the bottom. Watch out. You do have earnings coming in on November 12th. Maybe a little bit more inclined to move after the election when you have a president. I mean, you have Trump, that's drill baby drill, and then you got Kamala, who depends on the day is also drill baby drill. So I don't know, not sure, but otherwise a little bit of a bear trap from yesterday. So if you want to take a stab at this one on a swing trade, 49.50 would be your stop. Anything below that candle, I think would start to look ugly again and start to drop. And then I'd probably play the breakout of $50.70 if you want to try to move. But oil is up today. It's giving you a decent level to play off of. And maybe that takes you to 51, 57 for extended targets today. So you got a potential setup. Potential setup. And then obviously if you just never break down, if you want to go for there's gap fills up here, 54.22. Extended moves 54.89. So it's got a lot of room to the upside if that support can actually hold. So not a bad setup for a swing, actually. Palantir. We'll look at ABT. Palantir. That one's a good gap and go too. Be careful on this one as well. I think Monday's their earnings, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Monday at night. Monday after the bell is earnings for Palantir. You are opening into a little bit of resistance. This one probably fades at open. If you want to try to get in long, you're probably looking for like 41.58. Otherwise, I think it's a decent spot to. I'd probably say do nothing here. with a strong lean to the short side of things. And then I think you're looking for like a 42, 44 to get you your best risk reward if you could wait that long, but that's a decent resistance you're waking up into. ABT, good gap on that one. No earnings. Abbott Laboratories found not responsible for a boy's intestinal disease by Missouri. It was McDonald's this entire time. You're off the hook, Abbott Labs. That boy had too many quarter pounders, it turns out. But good gap. So nothing related to the company except for the fact that they don't have to pay out settlement money, I suppose. But yeah, same thing. That's a good gap. You do have monster resistance from that peak, somewhere around 121.07. You might be able to get there today, probably trapping some shorts. I think on this one, your best play, just because that resistance, and there's a few other levels up in between that target. If you could get a pullback on this one, look for like a 119.20, so about 70 cents lower will get you a better risk reward if it wants to come in. Otherwise, target probably says 121.02. I don't know how much of the boy's intestinal disease issue could get us past that last little pivot. We will see. Yes, CVX is up as well. I don't think, did they have earnings as well? They came in. There you go. See, there's a 1.8 billion beat. So revenue wise, Chevron did much better. And I think out of the two, I'd still want to fade on this one too, out of the gate. I think you're still kind of stepping into some resistance. But at this point, at least, you're above that 200 on the daily, so that's not bad. I think if you could get a pullback on this one, maybe right into that 200, also lines up with some VPOC, so like 151.87, give you a better spot. Otherwise, if you could start to break out of 152.56, I think your move maybe short term at least, I think into like 154.03, a little bit more extended, you get 154.98, somewhere in that zone. All right, Microsoft MSFT for Scott. Again, it's good open, good gap and go. You're almost right about 50% of that candle. So the question is, I I don't think it's too much of a question. The earnings were decent, I guess, for most companies. Some obviously were misses, but you're selling off pretty much no matter what the report was. So good September, October. You got 50% retracement here. I think we have to go with the sentiment of the market, and I think that's going to be a big resistance somewhere around this 200, so 411.08. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Bulls are just sitting there waiting for November 1st. I have no idea. We're about to find out, though. The bell has just rang. So everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Hope you guys had a good Halloween and a safe weekend, and I'll catch all of you guys